All right, everybody, welcome to the Creative Finance Collective. We're getting together. Might be a small group today. Getting together, though, to talk about creative finance, creative financing, real estate, questions that you might have, and questions that we can address and discuss for the benefit of all. Just a quick reminder, this will be our last week for 2 weeks because we got Christmas next week, so there will be no collective next week. But we're here. We're here now, and we're taking any questions that you guys can give to us. And just working through my panel here to make sure I've got everything going. The secret to all this that you don't know in the background is they've made all kinds of fun changes to the platform. So we're still working through all of those. So one of the things I'm looking for, Sean, is we do have a question, and I saw it on YouTube, but I'm not seeing it pop up on Restream. Are you seeing it? Yeah. No. All right. So that's fun. But we do have a question. So let me read it off, and we can go from there. It's kind of long. Give me a second. So saw a post on X from a real estate agent today that I follow, which stated, builder in downtown Scottsdale sold half of his townhouse project in 2020 and 2021. Second half is just now coming to market. And they're offering something I haven't seen on a listing like this since the depths of the GFC, which I think means a great financial crisis, and that is rent to own. Do you think the lease purchase is something we see more of in 2025? How do you properly structure a lease to own? So I guess it's funny. This is a place close to us, apparently in Scottsdale, high-end townhome project, and on the listing, they're offering rent to own deals or lease to own. I really don't know. I'm not an agent, so I really don't know how common that is. This post suggests that it's not very common, and it's being offered by a builder, which suggests they're having problems moving properties in the old conventional way. Of course, it's probably not easy to move any townhome that's $1 million plus anymore. But I don't know. Are you seeing much lease to own? I know we don't represent a lot of builders necessarily, or so I don't know that whether we've seen that in that kind of context. We've certainly done it for real estate investor clients. Have you seen a lot of that recently, or expect to see more of that in 2025?
I mean, other than our investor clients, either entering into master leases with options to purchase, or doing dispositions with leases with options to purchase. But no, I've not seen like a builder do this. I mean, my initial thought is, okay, they're doing this because for two reasons. Number one, like you said, they're not able to move product. Number one. Number two, if they provide their own seller financing, well, you have all of the different, Dodd-Frank and SAFE Act and federal regulations you need to monitor and make sure you're complying with. In this case, they're just doing a lease with an option to purchase at some future time. I don't know how it's structured. Obviously, if it's a lease, in theory, it should work out this way. And I think legally it's supposed to, but that doesn't mean it always plays out this way with judges. But if it's a lease and you don't pay and they go through the eviction process, they evict you. And if you have the right language in the option, then the option should terminate right upon that eviction judgment being entered. And then I also wonder, okay, well, what does that look like as far as, when you take the option, is that going to be a recorded interest in the property? How secure is it? How much are you protected from bankruptcy? But nevertheless, it is a method to acquire an interest in real estate. And it would, depending on how it's structured, give you the ability to purchase it. Maybe you get an ability to purchase it for a discounted price based upon the payments that you make under the lease. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at the document, but it's an interesting, method for
What
the.
are yeah, I do think I do think it's interesting. It could potentially give a buyer it gives them the ability to if you thought, for instance, that interest rates, if you just wait longer, might come down a little bit more. We thought the interest rates might come down, but they've been hovering around like the average around 7%. Like if you could, as part of a rent to own, delay that for another year or
Yeah.
forever, how long you have to make the option, maybe you lock in
Mhm.
a decent purchase price and then take advantage of better rates.
Yeah. My one concern would be, though, is you enter into the option, you establish the purchase price, and if that purchase price is like a static purchase price, regardless of what happens in the market, a year from now, the condo could be worth less, and you won't be able to get financing, even if interest rates are good.
Mm.
I don't know. It just depends on the market. It could work out, like you said, brilliantly,
Yeah.
and you're so happy you did it, and it could work out where you're like, I put money down and I, signed this lease and I paid lease payments and now I can't close and I have to move, type of thing. But I will tell you, I mean, some of these builders who I wouldn't do business with, but some of them, they require significant money down.
Mm.
I've seen upwards of $100,000 in payments only to have the market shift. And, COVID being an example, there was a period in time during COVID where you couldn't qualify for a loan, just because the lenders like, we don't know what's happening. And so they basically stopped funding. And so then builders were keeping people's hundred thousands of dollars of earnest money deposits because they couldn't qualify for financing. So I'm not sure you have any more, I don't know how this is structured. I'm not sure you have any more risk than going and signing up and putting a bunch of money down on a new build with a builder, um, and allowing them to hold your money.
Well,
During the
yeah,
Great
let's
Recession, we saw how many people lost earnest monies through builder bankruptcies.
yeah. Now I don't yeah, exactly. And now I don't know, obviously we haven't seen this listing and assume it to be true. But a builder that's offering this is also, you have to think, offering seller financing, right? Some sort of some sort of seller financing. If
I
that
don't
is
think
the
so.
case, you don't think so?
I think they're doing the lease option because they don't want to have to go through the rigmarole that you have to go through to do seller financing.
It could be. It seems like if you're playing this out from a buyer's perspective, you probably want seller financing. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
but why don't you
I
get it
guess
up front?
I guess
Why,
why won't you get what up front?
why don't you just get the seller financing right now?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
offering it.
yeah, if they're offering it, it would seem to be, I guess, like you said, the devil's in the details, but if they're requiring a decent amount up front, um, yeah, you're better off just probably getting the seller financing and locking in at least the ownership interest in the property. It's a lot easier to
Mm.
take away a non-ownership interest in property, I think, like a lease interest through an eviction or
Yeah.
whatever else, and if you lose out on, like, a major deposit.
Well, my other concern would be not so much, oh, the builder's not doing seller financing, would be that maybe, and I don't know, this is all speculation, but maybe the condos aren't as valuable as the builder thought they would be. And the builder has loans against them and can't sell the condos for the price of the loans right now. And so the builder is banking on appreciation in order to be able to pay to sell them at a price that's higher later on. Because when a builder gets these construction loans, there's a like a lot release price or a unit release price. And it says, okay, if you sell for each unit, it's a square footage number normally. It'll say, we'll release our lien against any particular unit if, you pay us X amount of dollars per square foot, plus whatever, interest has accrued and been unpaid, but, on that release number. And so what if the release number is higher than what they can sell the units for? That's another issue. And so, all of this works if the market goes up potentially, but I don't know. That's all speculation. That's until we look behind the numbers and figure out what exactly is going on, we don't know any of that.
Right. Okay, so they also ask, okay, now the question's coming through. How do you properly structure a lease to own? Now, I guess there's lots of ways to potentially structure it. How do you typically structure for real estate investor clients the lease to own?
It depends who I represent. So if I'm representing somebody that's acquiring an interest, then I'm going to want a portion of my rent payments to be applied to the purchase price. Mm-hmm. I'm going to want a recorded memorandum. I'm also going to want a recorded deed of trust that basically secures every dollar that I pay out of pocket in the event that there's a lack of performance. And so if the seller fails to perform on the option, fails to sell it to me, files for bankruptcy, whatever, I have a right to have a lien against the property for all, amounts that I paid towards the purchase price. As an option fee, basically I get my money back at that point. And I want that secured by a lien against the property. If I'm acquiring, builder's never going to give you that, just so you know. Builder probably won't even allow you to record a memorandum, but in any event, if I'm the landlord / optionor, then I don't want any of the rent to be credited towards the purchase price because I want them completely separate and unrelated transactions and documents. I may allow a written memorandum, but I want a original release that I maintain and can file in the event of if they vacate or are evicted or leave the property, or don't exercise the option. I'm going to want that. And I don't want, and I will not allow a deed of trust or a mortgage. But once again, it really depends who you represent.
Yeah. And then what position they're in, what kind of lenders they have.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a lot's going to matter there. All right. Well, it's the week before Christmas, so I don't think it's all that surprising, but we don't have any more questions. So
yeah, I kind of figured, and it'd be light. We don't have other attorneys on with us, and so I didn't think we'd have a big turnout for today. And I don't know about you, but even my phone calls and emails and work is slowly, and that's how it happens towards the last week and a half of the year, 2 weeks of the year. It kind of wanes and slows down, which is good. I can get some stuff done, and
everybody's packing it in.
Yeah, everybody's done, and those that wanted stuff done by the end of the year usually don't want it done truly by the end of the year. They want it done by middle of December. So I was crazy busy the last month, really busy the last month, and now it's starting to slow down a little bit. So that's good. I'm looking forward to hopefully enjoying the last half of the month here and the holidays, and so.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Have a nice Christmas, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Have a Merry